Welcome to the Scarlet, Blue, and You podcast. We're so glad you're joining us today. I'm Lauren Youse, your host and the HLGU Alumni Director, coming to you from the little chilly Burt studio here on the Hannibal LaGrange University campus. Today is one of my absolute favorite episodes of the year because it's time to unveil the Burt's, Matz, Youse book list for 2026. I wish we had one of those buttons with the clapping. That would be perfect right there.
It would be.
But I'm thrilled to join once again Mrs. Burt, who is one of our previous First Ladies, and our current First Lady, Mrs. Jessica Matz. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Thrilled to be here.
I'm so glad. This is so fun. Okay, so both of you are wonderful avid readers, and I am once again excited to dive into some great book conversations with you. But before we jump in, I have a confession. Last year, I set a goal to finish This Is Happiness in 2025, and I did not make it.
How close are you?
I am within 100 pages.
This will be the year. That goal
this
moved
will
you.
be the year.
Now, this is a book that Jessica recommended and reviewed, right?
And I had started it one other time and only made it like 5 pages and was like, this is not my book.
My.
But she recommended it so well.
You know it has value
And
then.
somebody gifted it to me, so I felt this pressure that somebody really thought I would enjoy it. And, oh my goodness.
This will be the year.
This will be the year. Okay.
Well, don't feel bad because I gave up on a book this year too, which I told you about.
Never happens.
But that's for another day.
Another talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so a new year often brings new goals, maybe even a resolution to read more. And if that's you, we are here to help. Today we're rolling out the Burt's, Matz, and Youse 2026 book list filled with titles we love, and we hope you will enjoy them too. So each one of us has brought 4, and if you do your multiplying, that's 12 books, one for each month of the year. And I think we'll just take turns like we have in the past because it's fun. Okay, Mrs. Burt, would you like to start?
I will. And the book I'd like to talk about first is a book called The Maid, and it's by Nita Prose, published in 2022. This murder mystery is the first novel by Nita Prose, and she's a Canadian author from Toronto, and it was very popular. It sold over 2 million copies worldwide and was a New York Times bestseller. In addition, it won numerous awards for fiction, including the Goodreads Choice Award and the Debut Novel Award. So why is this first novel by this author such a success? Well, I think the answer is simple. The lead character. She's endearing, interesting, charming in her own way, and different from any other protagonist in any other novel I've read. Her name is Molly Gray, and she's very proud of her job as a maid in a 5-star hotel. This 25-year-old woman absolutely loves cleaning. Can anyone relate?
I wish I had that.
Not a gene I got. But at any rate, she loves cleaning, and she loves cleaning each hotel room and returning it to the pristine state for the next guest. It's the light of her life to do that. She's also a stickler for proper etiquette, and she has a personality that everyone notices is quite different and indeed unique. Although the author never says so, it becomes clear that Molly is neurodivergent, and this affects not only the way others see her, but the way she sees the world and reacts to it. We have sympathy for her because she doesn't always have the perception to know whom she can and cannot trust. As quirky as she is, we can't help liking her and actually feeling protective of her. When a guest in the hotel is murdered, Molly unwittingly becomes involved by being at one point a suspect and at a later point an amateur detective. And so during all of this, a fascinating plot unfolds, and the reader cannot help rooting for the charming but vulnerable Molly Gray all the way. This murder mystery works on several levels, and it offers lots of surprises. It was so successful that the author wrote a sequel to it in 2023, the very next year, called The Mystery Guest. And I recommend that one too. So that is The Maid by Nita Prose.
I do
It's a
love a
great
murder
start.
mystery.
It was a good murder mystery.
Yeah,
I
those
loved
are
it.
fun, especially this time of year. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
why. They
Loved
just...
it. It's just kind of cozy.
Well, Mrs. Matz, would you like to go second?
I'd be happy to. So I'm going to start with a book by Lane Moriarty, What Alice Forgot, which I ended up reading because Mrs. Burt, I think 2 years ago, you had maybe Apples Never Fall on your list. And then last year you had Here One Moment.
Right.
And so over Thanksgiving break, I really had the opportunity to dive into books. I read the two of those, loved them. And so just
Kept
said,
going.
what else is available
Yeah.
by this author? And so that led me to What Alice Forgot. Have you read it, Mrs. Burt? No.
I have read this one.
It
It's
was
good.
very good. It's an older book. Came out in 2009, so 16 years old. It explores identity. It explores the passage of time. And the way it sets this up is in the very first chapter, very first few pages. I'm giving nothing away. There's a 39-year-old woman named Alice Love. She collapses in the gym. And when she comes back to, she believes she is her 29-year-old self, that she is expecting that she is happily married and not that she is her 39-year-old self on the brink of divorce and a mother of three. And then through this, the author, I feel like Lane Moriarty is just excellent at character development, at a mystery that has suspense that pulls you forward, but also causes you to think, some introspection. And so this idea, how does memory shape who we are? Would we even know ourselves if we went back and met ourselves 10 years ago? The other thing that came to my mind as a counselor, there's this a thought in marriage counseling called hope-focused marriage counseling that kind of taps into these ideas of memory. And it talks about asking a couple, how did you meet? How did you fall in love as an intervention itself? That when you go back and you remember those memories, that those memories truly shape who we are and how we think about the present. And so this book kind of comes at that from a different angle. Highly recommend.
Oh, that
It was a
sounds
fun
really
read.
good.
I think it was my first Lane Moriarty.
It is an excellent beach read, a rainy day. You're going to read the whole book in one sitting. It's a
Yeah,
good
it's
one to
fun.
grab.
Oh, sounds good.
Good recommendation. All right. Well, my first book is This Tender Land by William Kent Kruger. And this is my second William Kent Kruger book. The first one was No Ordinary Grace. Does that sound right? Ordinary Grace?
Just Ordinary Grace.
There it is. Ordinary Grace. And I just feel like his books take you on a journey. And they're kind of fun. This book really reminded me of like a Huckleberry Finn, but set in more the Depression time. And so it's one of those rare novels that's beautifully written. It is a big book, so don't be intimidated, but it goes pretty quick. It's hard to put down. The whole story is narrated by Odie O'Banion, and I just grew to love the name Odie. I'm pretty sure if I got a new cat, his name would be Odie. And he's a young guy, just 12 years old in the 1930s. He is mischievous. He's funny. He's very honest. He has a big heart. But he's that kind of narrator that you instantly connect with. You just want to root for him from page one. And it takes place in Minnesota at the Lincoln Indian Training School. And historically, these are Native American schools where the government sent Native American children to learn to be American, sometimes against their will.
Interesting.
And so Odie and his brother Albert go to the school. They are not Native American, but they end up at this school. And immediately, it's not the easiest place to grow up. There's the villain is the superintendent of the school, and just like you love Odie on page one, you pretty much despise her on page 3. You're like, I don't like you.
Not good.
So Albert is the brother, Odie, and their friend Mose, who is a Native American, and then this little girl named Emmy decide to escape, and they do it heading down the Minnesota River. So there's your Huckleberry Finn. And it's just really fun. It's Great Depression, which is not fun, but it opens up for a lot of characters and interesting characters that are in circumstances that maybe wouldn't lend themselves other than this time period. And it's a beautiful picture of the Midwest because he travels. The book goes from Minnesota all the way down to St. Louis. So you get a big, wide expanse. And it's just a classic. There's humor. There's adventure. There's a little bit of everything. And at the end, as always, I like it. It's tied up with kind of a nice bow, but then some other like thought-provoking, like, I didn't see that coming. So it's a great balance. It's finding God's grace in unexpected places, and characters that you think you're not going to like, you end up liking, and vice versa. So it's a great book.
It sounds wonderful.
It's great.
Yeah. And the title again?
It's called This Tender Land.
This Tender Land. Oh, I've heard lots about that book.
It's very good.
Good to know.
Lauren, this is your one recommendation I've read. And as I read it, I felt like I was reading literature that would stand the test of time.
It
That
feels
30, 40
very
years
classic.
from now, I think people are going to be returning to it.
I agree.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a very timeless book. Very good.
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Number 2?
All right. The next one on my list is a book I truly loved. So I'll try not to talk too much about it. You know I'd like to tell you the entire story from beginning to end, but I'll try to restrain myself today. So this is The 5 Wishes of Mr. Murray McBride by Joe Seipel, and it was published in 2018. Joe Seipel is a sports newscaster turned novelist, and he's written 6 novels at this point. This book was his debut novel and was a USA Today bestseller, an Amazon bestseller in several countries, and the winner of multiple awards for fiction. So The 5 Wishes of Mr. Murray McBride is one of the most heartwarming books I've read in a long time. It tells the story of 100-year-old Murray McBride, a widower who has outlived nearly everyone he has ever loved and has lost his will to live. Back in the 1920s and 30s, he was a famous Major League Baseball player. But those glory days are long gone at this point. Now he just endures every day and feels that his life is completely empty. The people he sees most regularly now are his doctor and his priest. And by the way, he goes to confession every single day at age 100. Both the priest and the doctor are trying to help him, but to no avail. In fact, Murray has already decided the date when he is going to stop taking the medicine that's keeping him alive. That is, until he meets a 10-year-old boy who suffers from a serious heart condition that is going to take his life unless he gets a heart transplant. When Murray learns that this little boy, Jason, has 5 wishes that he wants to come true before he dies, because, by the way, he's way down on the transplant list. So he has these 5 wishes. Murray wonders if he could help that little boy make his dreams come true.
Oh, that's cute.
The 5 wishes seem impossible. And again, this little boy is only 10 years old, but here's what he wants to do. He wants to kiss a girl. He wants to hit a home run in a Major League Baseball stadium. He wants to be a hero, a superhero. He wants to find a nice boyfriend for his divorced mom. And he wants to do real magic as a magician on stage. Can such far-fetched wishes really come true? Can a 100-year-old man and a 10-year-old boy actually forge a friendship? And by the way, some of the funniest parts in this book are where they're trying to communicate. Murray McBride has never done email. He's not low tech. He's zero tech. And the two of them don't even speak the same language. He speaks the language of the 1920s. The boy speaks the language of well, actually the book is in 1997, but they're almost a century apart. So can these things happen? You'll have to read the book to find out. This is definitely a character-driven book, which I love. And I read the last chapters very slowly because I didn't want it to end because I knew I'd miss them. And I do.
I do love books like that. And even titles like that always kind of grip me. I'm like, oh, that sounds intriguing. I'm always a little more interested in that.
I think books that explore intergenerational friendships like this are always
They're always
compelling.
rewarding. Yeah, I would agree. What would you like to share your second?
Sure. I will make my second Orthodoxy by G.K. Chesterton. It is the one nonfiction book on my list. It is almost 120 years old at this point, came out in 1908. It is a book that provides an apologetic for the Christian faith. However, primarily it is a spiritual autobiography. It is his story of why he personally came to the Christian faith. It is a book. I love tearing through books. I love reading them in one sitting. And this is a book that sat on my nightstand, and I probably read a chapter a week for several weeks. It was probably my 5th or 6th time through the book. It's one I'm willing to return to often. His voice is supremely intelligent, a lot of British subtle wit. It makes me chuckle. Robert can attest that I want to read about every other paragraph out loud to him because something about the word choice or the way the idea develops just pulls you in. Let's see. It explores lots of ideas, the value of paradox in the Christian faith, that we find strength in humility, that we find joy in suffering, not as contradictions that we should push against, but rather as foundational to the created order. That one quote that stood out. There's many from this book. It's quoted often. If you haven't read the book and you sit down and read it, you're probably going to see quotes along the way. There, yes, for sure. One of them, the Christian ideal has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried. Just great ways of expressing things. And I love an autobiography.
Very good.
Recommend.
Okay, and you've read it 5 or 6 times.
I have.
Okay.
I return to it every 2 or 3 years, probably.
I'm just not a huge rereader, but I think that shows that it must be really good. And
perhaps after you finish your book, you're going to finish this year.
Yeah,
you can put that one on your nightstand for a few years.
How big is this book?
It is not big. Maybe 120 pages, 140. It's. Yeah. I'm guessing, but it's not thick on my nightstand. Okay. But it is, for me, it's a read 4 or 5 pages at a time sort of book.
Let it sink in. Mm-hmm. Okay. Don't go straight through it. Okay. Whereas my next book, I think you could go straight through it if you wanted, or you can savor it in little bits. It is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. And this book, I am ashamed to say I don't know the year, but it is not a new book. It has been around for years and years and is considered a true American classic. If you read it as a young lady, I think it's a pretty female book. But if you read it as a young lady, I would encourage you to pick it back up because kind of like a lot of great literature, you glean different things as an adult than you do when you're younger. So this story follows Francie Nolan, an imaginative, determined young girl growing up in the tenements of Brooklyn in the early 1900s. She's the narrator, and she has a beautiful way of seeing her world, which, she describes something, and I'm like, Francie, that sounds real bad. And she thinks it's really cool and interesting. So I kind of like that about her. Her circumstances are not easy. Family struggles with poverty in a big way. Her mother works tirelessly to keep them, just in food and in shelter. And her father is battling alcoholism. And he is still one of those characters that you will love by the end of the book, even though he has his battles. Brooklyn itself is one of the very cool things about this book because it's a vibrant. She's really great at describing the smells, what she's seeing, and just even the language of early 1900s Brooklyn is fantastic. It feels like you're stepping into some kind of gangster movie. So it's really fun. She's really great. You want to root for her through the whole thing. Kind of a coming of age story. And it's just one that I think stays with you and just keeps you like to think maybe things will turn out okay.
So, Lauren, this is my mother's favorite book. And she probably gave me a copy early high school. And I think I've started it 3 or 4 times and never made it past the first few chapters. And so this is going... You're going to do it? This is going to be the
your
year.
2026 goal?
This is my 2026 goal.
Okay.
It will be the
We're
year
saying it
A
on
Tree
the
Grows in
podcast.
Brooklyn. I'm committing.
Absolutely.
I'm
but
sure
I set
you've
the
read
bar
it,
pretty
Mrs.
low
Burt.
because you can fail now.
terrible. I read this book a long time ago, and I loved it. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. So it's fun to go back and see books that were written X number of years ago, just not all
Absolutely.
current books.
Right.
Because they're classics for a reason.
Yes, they are, and lots of value in them, even today.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for the next one?
Please.
All right. Well, we're both doing a Mitch Albom book today, and so the one I'm reading, or I read, was published actually in 2025. So it's pretty new, and it's called simply Twice. Everybody knows Mitch Albom. I don't have to say anything except that he has sold more than 42 million copies of his books, and they've been translated into 48 languages. So, 8 New York Times bestsellers. He's, a phenomenal writer. So this book, to enjoy this book, the reader has to suspend disbelief and just go with the flow of this intriguing and imaginative plot. The main character is Alfie Logan, and he learns at the age of 8, actually on the day his mother dies, that he has a gift. And that gift is the ability to relive any experience one time.
Oh, interesting.
So he can do anything twice, but only twice. And he has to be satisfied, or at least live with, the consequences of the second go-round. So it's kind of an interesting thing. There is an important limitation on this that is related to love. And that is, if you undo a love and go back, that person can never fall in love with you again.
Oh.
So great care needs to be taken in matters of love. The head note to this book is a quote by C.S. Lewis. And the head note says, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." Or can you?
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, 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 bum. So as he narrates his own story, Alfie Logan tells us the ways that he used those second chances as a child and a teenager growing up. What would a kid use those things for? Well, some examples are going into a supposed witch's house to impress his friends, challenging a tiger, skydiving recklessly, getting a girlfriend, and trying to prevent the death of his best friend. But as he becomes an adult, he uses his gift differently, and he begins to be very daring, overconfident, even foolhardy, because he knows that he can save himself. So if he's right there at the mouth of a tiger, all he has to do is tap himself on the arm and say twice, and then he gets a redo. He's still trying to learn the best way to use this gift when he falls in love. And that, of course, is the biggest adventure of all. And this is where the story really begins. Is his twice ability a gift, or is it a curse? Can you perfect love by redoing all the messy and awkward parts, or do you end up risking everything?
I don't think I'd want to go back and see some of those parts again.
Well, it gets
I bet.
incredibly complicated. This is a really good read. I enjoyed it. And I have to say, the author crafted an ending that I never in a million years would have guessed.
I love that.
So I can recommend Twice by Mitch Albom.
Now, his books are usually kind of small. Is this a small book?
It's not very long. It's maybe 270 pages.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
He's
pretty
such
short.
a good writer.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think I've ever read anything by Mitch Albom. And
I would start with Tuesdays with Maury, which is
Tuesdays with Maury.
nonfiction.
I've, of course, heard of that, but I haven't read it.
And is it The First Five People You Meet in Heaven? Is that another title?
And the first
That's-
phone
Okay.
call from heaven. And
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for the year ahead now.
Yeah.
he's one of those, I'm like, if I've had a bad book, I'm like, I'm going to go to my Mitch Albom and see what I haven't read, and
Exactly.
I will enjoy this.
And then you'll love reading
Okay.
again.
That's right.
Yes, yes. Well, he certainly takes you on a wild ride
So
in this
intriguing.
one. It's great.
And Alfie, that's a good name for
Alfie,
a cat.
yes.
too.
And he was literally named for the song that was popular long before you were born. But anyway, what's it all about, Alfie? But,
Nice.
there are
I love
probably
that.
6 listeners that will relate to that. But anyway.
My next book. Okay, my next book is A Land Remembered by Patrick D. Smith. It was published in 1984. It is historical fiction. It is set in Florida. It is one of those epic tales. It spans 110 years, 1858 to 1968, over 3 generations of the same family, the McIvy family. And the reason I chose this book and the reason it stood out to me, I've got a twofold reason. The first is a bit personal to me. My father's family, his mother, was part of the Solana family, and they came to St. Augustine in 1613. And so their history in Florida goes way back. But so often, I think, in our American history, we focus on New England and our expansion from there, rightly so. But there is this other side to
were they from
Spain?
Spain?
From Spain.
Oh, how amazing.
Yes. So
Wow.
I grew up kind of hearing these family stories about Florida, and then my parents moved to Florida to retire, 7 or 8 years ago. So as we find ourselves down there, we were driving over the bridge to Sanibel, and I saw this sign for Punta Rasa. I was like, oh, I recognize this from the book now. This isn't just a gateway to a bridge to a vacation destination. This was an important cattle port. Just
Very cool.
trading with Cuba. So
I
saw
love
it,
that.
but a little bit of a personal connection. But it's exploring a different side of America. What was pioneer life like in Florida? The answer is it was terribly difficult, and terribly difficult pretty close to what we would consider modern history. You don't have to go back far for Florida to look very different. There's a theme of obstacles and how insurmountable they seemed to this family, a family legacy, and then this larger theme over 110 years. How do we balance this tension between what we consider human progress, but also the preservation of the created order? When those two things seem in conflict, what are the long-term consequences? Yeah.
Very good.
So it's a little lengthy. It's definitely one of those books that I would say you've got to fall in love with the characters and buy into the setting, and then it sucked you in. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
50 pages, and then you're rolling.
You're there.
I feel like she says this for me.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it.
She's encouraging you,
It's for
isn't she?
everyone, because
Yeah.
actually my parents were like, you need to read this book, you need to read this book. And I would pick it up at their house and I'd make it 20 pages in. And then this one time I finally made it 50. And then
Wow.
I was just hooked. I need to know what happens to this family.
And how fascinating to have your family connection
Oh,
with that,
for
with
sure.
your
Yes.
family from Spain. Fascinating. Goodness. Do you know much of the history of your family?
It's kind of a well-known family in Florida history, so you can pick up books and read little
cool.
bits.
That is so neat.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to go
great.
to St. Augustine.
Oh,
Haven't
yeah.
met it yet, but
Yep.
it's on the list.
Along with reading a certain...
Along with reading a certain book.
exactly.
Yes. So many things on the list.
It's so much.
All right. Well, my next book is a young adult book, and it is by Gary D. Schmidt, who, if you've done the book list before, that's a familiar one because he did the Wednesday Wars that I loved so much. So this book is called The Labors of Hercules Beale, and it is just as good as the Wednesday Wars. Maybe no, it's not better, but it's just as good. I loved it. Yeah. And he's quickly become one of my all-time favorite authors. He just has a gift for writing stories that are both deeply moving, accessible. They're easy for young readers, but honestly, adults love them because they're wonderful books. So in this novel, we follow Hercules Beale, a middle school boy living in Cape Cod who has recently lost his parents. He and his older brother, who's now his guardian, are trying to rebuild a life together while running the family's struggling nursery business. So you get to learn a lot about plants, too. Hercules starts at a new school, and his homeroom teacher is a former Marine and one of the most unforgettable characters in the book. He's everything stereotypical about a Marine you could think. It's fantastic. He gives him a year-long project to reenact the 12 labors of Hercules, but in real life. And he does it. He does it well, and he does it in a beautiful, funny, heart-tugging way. Each labor is usually very creative, and you're like, where are you going with this? Because if you remember some of the labors, it's like the golden fleece and cutting off heads, and
And he does that in the modern
and
day?
he does.
Wow.
He does. And they're fantastic in some ways. And they're usually comical because you're just like, oh, okay, I see where we're going with that.
Good.
But I love that it's set in Cape Cod. It's a beautiful area. And it's just gentle, humorous. There's some grief that they're working through as brothers that's lovely. And he's so good. And it's celebrating small victories that turn out to be really big moments and milestones for this young man. So it's a fantastic book. Totally recommend it. And it's great for like a road trip with lots of ages.
Yeah.
They'll enjoy it. And it's really funny.
So you say a road trip. Do you like have it on audio when you do
Yeah,
that?
do that.
Yeah.
The narrator's fantastic.
Yeah. One of my daughters and I used to take road trips, and we would read to each other. Oh. And when she was a teenager and had her driver's license, we would swap driving. And more than once, we missed our exit because we were
got caught up,
fascinated with what was going on in the books. But yeah, so
that's when you know it's a good book.
That's when you know it's a good book. Absolutely.
You drive more.
Yeah, past the exit. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So we had to change our dining plans a couple of times, but anyway.
Worth it.
It was all worth it, yeah. So the last book I'm going to talk about is a nonfiction work called Confronting Christianity by Rebecca McLaughlin. Are either of you familiar with her? Okay.
I was not.
This book was published in 2019. I became familiar with Rebecca McLaughlin when I did a Bible study a couple of years ago that she wrote that was called The Gospel Truth. She's originally from the UK and has a doctorate from Cambridge University, but somehow she met and married an Oklahoma guy and moved to the U.S., and I believe, if what I've read is correct, they live in Massachusetts. So interesting background there. In my opinion, she's an excellent thinker, and she writes with unusual clarity and depth. And I'll say at the outset, this is not a quick read. This is not one that you will want to sit by the fireplace and read in a day, because you need time to think about what she's saying and kind of mull it over. One of the points that she makes early in the book was something I found interesting. She talks about the fact that here in the Western world, and especially in the United States, we see Christianity as waning with, we hear it all the time. The churches are emptying out. People are becoming more agnostic or atheistic and that kind of thing. But she points out that that's not true in the world as a whole right now, that there are places in the world where Christianity is just blossoming, and there are many, many converts. Not the same in the U.S. as we would certainly wish it were, but it's kind of an encouraging thing to hear that there are places where the gospel is truly thriving. Confronting Christianity was named Book of the Year by Christianity Today in 2019. And in this book, she deals with some of the most difficult modern challenges to the Christian faith, discussing 12 specific issues that are sometimes stumbling blocks for those who are considering Christianity. A few of the questions are, and these questions, by the way, there are 12 of them. I'm only going to mention 6 quickly. But these questions form the framework of the book, and there's a chapter devoted to each one. So some of those questions. 1, how can you say that there's only one true faith? 2, doesn't religion cause violence and hatred? 3, how can you take the Bible literally? 4, hasn't science disproved Christianity? 5, how could a loving God allow so much suffering? 6, how could a loving God send people to hell? I like this book because it's well-researched and thoroughly discusses each of its 12 topics. It's also readable and interesting. It sounds like it could be stuffy, but it is anything but stuffy. It is highly accessible. It truly is enjoyable. And I think a lot of that is due to the personal experiences and observations that she includes in the book. Finally, I like the fact that she doesn't simplify any of these issues. She faces them head on, doesn't give any kind of expected or pat answers at all. Instead, she deals with the issues from a place of knowledge information, expertise, and real insight. So if you're looking for an examination of the Christian faith that speaks to the 21st century mind, this is a great book for you, and I highly recommend.
Very good. I had never heard of that book, so perfect.
I really love her writing. She's a very thoughtful and well-informed writer.
Perfect.
So my final book is Theo of Golden. And Lauren, when you asked us to select our books, maybe a month ago, I wish I had asked both of you to pick it up quickly and read it so that I need a book club to discuss this one with. I haven't had a discussion yet.
This is a book I've been wanting to read.
It's
coming up.
on my next.
And it's on my list. I'm definitely recommending it.
Okay.
It was self-published, a debut self-published novel in 2023. And through social media, word of mouth just really picked up steam. It was picked up by a publisher then in 2025.
Okay.
But I mean, very rare circumstances for a debut self-published novel to get this kind of traction.
Explains, it was hard to find.
Yes.
When
It really
I wanted
was,
to buy it.
That is
This
why.
explains it.
So the title comes from Theo, is the name of our main character. And he is an older gentleman who arrives in the town of Golden, which is in the southern United States in modern times. I would describe it as a very gentle mystery that he has arrived. We have his name. He is not known to the people in the community. He walks into a coffee shop, and there are 92 pencil portrait sketches on the wall, all by the same artist. He finds them compelling and decides to return each one, the beauty in it, return that beauty to the rightful owner, being the person in the portrait. They're all local people, and so the plot is carried forward by the connections he makes as he finds and gifts each of these portraits. It is about the power of being seen. It is about kindness. Is it about connection? It is one of a very short list of books that I would say I am better and challenged to be better because I read that fiction book. Like that's a short list. With that said, and here's why I need a book club. There were a few times that I thought, if this book had had an editor.
Oh no.
And that's, I'm giving a very gentle critique, but at times I wanted him to show me, not tell me.
Right.
Or I thought, is this character really fully believable?
Oh, okay.
But the overall story is so good and so full of truth and beauty and goodness that it absolutely made my list, and I think it should be read.
Okay.
Well, now we know what to expect.
Yes,
Somewhat.
but you don't know who Theo is, and that is the gentle mystery that does propel the book forward.
Interesting.
Well, everything I've read about the book has made me want to read it. Although I have seen a couple of reviews of people who were a little skeptical, but by and large, I mean, hugely actually,
I think
positive reviews.
Yes,
so,
positive, and the fact that it was able to get traction just on its own without a publisher marketing speaks to
it does
to the truth that is being told.
Yep.
Very good. Well, that's good. Yeah, it's. I have to finish This Is Happiness before I can read it. I'm never going to get to read it. No, I am. Okay, my final book is my Mitch Albom book, The Little Liar. And I started reading Mitch Albom only a year or two ago, but he is quickly becoming one of my go-tos.
Yeah.
So if anyone has listened to the podcast before, you know that I adore World War II literature. So, of course, I had to add one. Yes. So this is that one. So it kind of covers all the areas for this one. So let's see, where do I want to start? It's powerful, emotional, incredibly thought-provoking, takes place during World War II, follows a young Jewish boy named Nico, who has one very defining trait. He never lies. It's not that he can't lie. He just is very truthful and honest and does not lie. And it's almost legendary around his community. But when the Nazis invade his Greek hometown, his gift becomes a curse. He's actually manipulated by the Nazis into helping deceive the very people he loves, believing he's guiding them to safety. Like, he really believes that, when in reality, he's being used to get them onto trains.
Oh, no.
And it just takes off from there. So it's a story through multiple perspective, which I always love. So it's Nico, his brother, a girl from their neighborhood, and even the enemy who exploits Nico.
Oh, my.
And the shifting viewpoints give it this haunting, layered effect, showing how one moment and one betrayal, it can ripple throughout all of this community. So one of the most unique parts of this book is the narrator itself, which is Truth. Truth is the narrator.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean,
That's creative.
yeah. He speaks directly to the reader and frames the story in a way that's almost spiritual, reminding us that the nature of truth lies forgiveness and redemption. So, although the setting is heartbreaking, because, again, it is World War II, it's ultimately about the endurance of hope and the possibility of healing. And it's just a very heavy subject that somehow still has tenderness, compassion, and wisdom. So this is one of those novels that you'll want to talk to somebody when you finish it, because it has a fantastic ending. It's beautifully told. It lingers in your mind for sure. And if you appreciate historical fiction that asks big questions, and if you're a Mitch Albom fan, then you'll really love this book. It's fantastic. And again, it's not that big. He writes little books.
He does.
He
does.
Packs a lot into those pages.
Certainly does.
Yeah.
That sounds fascinating. And I also enjoy the World War II era, and that sounds like a great plot.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. But again, it's got your World War II terribleness to it as well.
I'm sure.
So if you're sensitive to that,
Yeah.
you may not want to read that
And
one.
using Truth as the narrator. What a fascinating
It kind of
concept.
reminds me, what is it, The Book Thief?
You say death is the narrator.
Death is and like The Lovely Wars. It was the Greek gods. Like, I just, those kind of books intrigue me from the start.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this was fun, ladies. So
It
12
always is.
books.
It's an inspiring list. I'm
Yes,
excited to get going.
Very
So am I. Yeah.
ranges and a lot of different genres
Yeah.
and lengths and
Absolutely. Do you all think about this all year long?
oh, I do.
I do.
I do.
Usually, I'll read one and be like, "This is going on the list,"
Exactly.
or I'll be like, "This is never going on the
Right.
list."
I will go home and I'll open my library account and put these all on hold in Libby. And
Yes.
because some are popular, it's going to be
It's
like
gonna take a while.
presents
Months,
arriving
yes.
through the year. Some
Very
will probably
true.
take 6 months
Exactly. Very
to
true.
get my way.
Yeah, and then some like Tree Grows in Brooklyn's probably ready to go.
It's actually
Yeah.
on my bookshelf from when my mom
Oh,
you
wow.
still have your
Given it to me.
copy. Perfect.
That was nice to hear that that's your mother's favorite book.
is, yes.
Well, that's the only reason I read it. A girl in my book club, it's her favorite book. And that was our first club
Yeah.
meeting. We're like, what's your favorite book? And talk to us about it. And I was just like, I need to read it. That sounds intriguing.
Good.
And I trust her. So,
Yeah.
you know, some people you're like, oh, I trust you. And then other people are like, no.
Nope. I know I'm not reading that. Right.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. I'm glad you enjoyed it,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's for me.
Well, I think that's one of the things that makes this fun for me. I like the choices of books you all make. It's
Yeah,
you know, I
she
know
likes
that,
our book.
Well, you know, y'all are
No.
both great book recommenders, and I enjoy that.
Well, Lauren's still trying to trust me in spite of
This
his
is happiness.
happiness.
Yeah, there is that issue hanging
You
in
know,
the air,
maybe
isn't
in the
there?
last 100 pages, it's really going to get exciting.
Exactly.
Be more than just rain and not going to church on
But have you
Easter.
ever read 3 such beautiful pages about rain?
No, they just
Yes.
stick with you.
Yes.
And that rain comes straight down to the side, left, right, big splats, little
Have you
splats.
did you pick it up over the year, Mrs. Burt?
No.
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 No, you can
I'm
have my
afraid that you
copy.
have influenced me. Oh, can I have it after? Well, but only after you finish,
I
right?
know,
Yeah.
I know, right?
So, like in 10 years, I don't know.
It may
It's going
take
to be
a
a
while.
while. No, I have faith in you. I do believe you're going to finish that.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
You have 4 coming of age.
I do.
Young,
I had a
young
theme.
narrators. You did
I
have a
did.
theme. I like it.
Yeah.
Across very different genres.
Yes, yes. I sometimes do have themes. One theme year was animals.
I remember
I think they
that.
were almost all
Yes,
animal
yes.
books. But yeah, this is definitely a coming of age list for me.
Sounds good.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining me, ladies. Always so fun to be with you. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed these books. Hey, if you read something and want to discuss, please reach out to us on social media. We would we really love almost nothing more than
That's right.
discussing books.
It's true.
Very true.
So we would welcome that. And hope that you're having a great 2026 and that you have set some goals, and we encourage you to apply yourselves to finish those. I will come back next year and hopefully tell you I finished This Is Happiness and got to read Theo of Golden. So that's my reward for
Sounds
finishing
good.
that book. All right. Well, hope you're having a great one. Please join us again for the Scarlet, Blue, and You at